Shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua. This is just a quick video on how destruction is drawing nigh. There's a lot of things going on in this earth, a lot of prophecy being fulfilled. And, we out here to warn the people and to tell the people that, we're living in those times. We're living in the times of biblical prophecy. And now it's time to, understand what's going on in this world and the things that we have to do to prepare. Right. So if you don't know, Donald Trump is, he's inciting war. He's talking about, how, everybody's talking about climate change, but nobody's talking about World War III. I mean, all type of things, is going on in this world from, to the tornado disasters that just hit Southeast Oklahoma and what's that, Dallas, Texas, all through the, Southwest. You had over 2,000 earthquakes that hit Santorini, Greece, and in 2 weeks, in the span of 2 weeks, you had all these airplane crashes, all these blood moons, all these chariot sightings, and amongst other things, you got the 10 toes separating, right? That's major biblical prophecy that the 10 toes are separating. So, hey, guess what? I got receipts to back it all up with. But this is a quick video. This is Trump being interviewed by Maria Bartiromo. I think her name is Bartiromo. You can check this out. I'm gonna play it real quick. See if I can get it going.
Because you have China, you have Russia, you have a lot of problems out there. No.
In fact,
no. What I have said is, we spend a lot of money on nuclear missiles, nuclear weapons. The level of destruction is beyond anything you can even imagine. It's just bad that everybody has to spend all this money on something that, if it's used, it's probably the end of the world.
You hear that?
Wow. I don't know what to say to that.
When I listen to these...
You see that? He said it's probably the end of the world. And he knows that. This devil knows that, he has but a short time. Right? I'm keep playing it.
I listen to these climate lunatics, and they talk about global warming. And they say the ocean's going to rise 1/8 of an inch in the next 300 years. And, and nobody ever talks about nuclear weapons or some of the other things, but the nuclear weapons in particular right now. And they talk about the climate, and they talk about the dangers of the climate, but they don't talk about the dangers of a nuclear weapon, which could happen tomorrow. They say in 300 years, I watched Biden for years say the existential threat. He loved the term existential threat. Our greatest existential threat is from the climate. I said, no. The greatest is sitting in shelves in various countries called nuclear weapons that are big monsters that can blow your heads off for miles and miles and miles. And they never mention that.
You see that? So this devil knows what's going on, man. Right? This devil knows what's happening. We got this precept real quick in 2nd Esdras. Right, this is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, and verse number 11. It says, "But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy." I'm gonna read that again. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before. Right, and this is how you know this is talking about America, because it says as before, as the same way he did ancient Egypt with Pharaoh. It says, "And will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahweh shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting in hail and with their fearful constellation." Right? This is talking about the thermonuclear warheads. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hand, right? And it's talking about what's about to go into. It's talking about the sedition that's coming, where life on earth is going to come to a point where it's going to be unsustainable, especially for the middle class and the poor, where you're going to have people rioting and going against the government because the dollar's going to be collapsed, inflation is going to be unbearable for people to survive. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings." See that? It says, "They shall not regard their kings nor princes." Talking about, the government, the people who they put in office, who they voted for. "And the course of their action shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go in the city." And they already talk about these 15-minute cities. Now we don't know if, them burning down, California and these wildfires that's taking place. We don't know if it's part of these 15-minute cities or not, where they're going to have everything at your disposal, and it's going to make it seem like everything needed is in front of you, around you, but in reality, they want to control you, so that basically they have that all-seeing eye, where they can just pretty create that new world order, where they got you trapped, they got you right where they want you. It says, "And shall not be able, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid." It says, "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor." Hey, so that man that offers that, or that neighbor that offers to cut your grass, to rake your leaves, or shovel your snow, hey, he's not going to have pity on you in that day, because food uh, is going to be so expensive in that day, and it's already happening where people are already just walking out the grocery store with bags of groceries, right? They don't even care. They're just walking out the grocery store with food, right? And it's about to happen all around the world, where a lot of these countries, because they depend on America, their economy is about to start shutting down, especially when Trump is talking about putting tariffs and separating from the 10 toes. That the whole this whole mostly outside of the BRICS, a lot of these countries that trade with America, hey, they're about to go down. It says, "But shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread." Because of the lack of bread, meaning lack of food, and for great tribulation. And so these are the things that's coming, right? These are the things that's coming to America, because our salvation is nearer than we believe. Go to chapter 16, right? Go to chapter 16. Let me see. I think it's verse number 3. Right? It says, "A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? Fire is sent among you, and who may quench it?" And that's really going into these thermonuclear missiles. On another level, yeah, this place is, different cities are being burnt up with fire. But at the end of the day, hey, we're waiting for these missiles to come. We're waiting for America to fall, to crumble, so we can go back home. Right? Jumping down to verse 12. Verse 12. "The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea riseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also before the Lord, and before the glory of his power." And so we're also seeing a massive amount of earthquakes all around the world. Right? You had over, I want to say it was either 200 or 2,000 earthquakes in the span of 2 weeks. And then we're seeing uh, a lot of hurricanes, a lot of floodings, a lot of tornadoes. When it says with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled. So we're seeing a lot of these things play out, and we know we're close. We know we're at the end, because all of these things are happening at once, right? Again, this quick video. Actually, I got this news article. Here we go. It says Greece island of Santorini rattled by 200 earthquakes. See that? It says thousands of locals flee the picturesque island as experts say rolling tremors lot like volcanic city. Let's see if I can see what was the span. Afternoon. Let's see. I thought I had a video. All right. Guess I don't have it. Hold on. Yeah, but you can look this stuff up. I want to say it was over 200, might have been 2,000 earthquakes. May have been 200 earthquakes in 2 weeks. It says some 2,000 people left Santorini by sea on Sunday and Monday with ferry operation airlines saying they were adding services to help more people leave at the request. And that's how bad it was. You know, over 2,000 people leaving after request from the country's ministry for climate crisis. Hey, there ain't no climate crisis, man. Hey, this is how Bashem Yahushua, man, tearing this world up, man, tearing this place up. Right, the Lord is visiting this place pursuant to, I believe it's Isaiah 29:6. Let's see if I can get that real quick. I think it's Isaiah 29:6. And all of these things are being done right because of the servants of the Lord. All because the servants of the Lord is waking up, man. And we're constantly praying to the Most High to destroy this place. We're praying to the Most High that our days be shortened, right? That this kingdom collapse, that this kingdom fall. This book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse number 6. It says, "Thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire." And that's what we're seeing right now, man. Like we're seeing fires all over the world, man. Right? We had a fire a couple of years ago. We had that fire in Canada that reached all the way down to New York. We had that huge fire in Hawaii. Right? We had that fire not too long ago, a couple months ago in California, and we just had another fire, and what was that? Just had another fire in that just ripped through southeast, or was it Oklahoma? Let's see if I can pull it up. Here you go, right here. This is the video that I had.
The winds were at times at 70 miles an hour, which make it almost impossible to shut down a fire. So we were reacting more than being proactive, and had to be. I want to say my heart goes out to all firefighters, police officers who are involved in these type of things. Our firefighters worked very hard all night long. And we have a very experienced volunteer fire department here. But if you've ever seen situations like this, you know that
want to get the most out of one sheet? Grab Bounty. While ordinary,
there's just very little.
But it says raging wildfires in Oklahoma have left 4 people dead and over 140 injured. The state's medical examiner said on Sunday. More than 400 homes. They see that? 400 homes. Hey, that's a lot of homes, man. A lot of people that's going to be displaced without homes. 400 homes and structures have been destroyed and at least 170,000 acres burned in Oklahoma after several wildfires broke out. See, and again, this is all happening, and they're not putting this. A lot of these um, events, they're not putting it on mainstream news. Right? They're not going to put it on WGN, ABC, CNN, and MSNBC. It says 170,000 acres burned in Oklahoma after several wildfires broke out, prompting evacuations amid extreme fire weather conditions throughout the weekend. See, and these are the things that you know that was spoken about in the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter. Let's go back to Second Edges. So a couple more, a little bit on that I want to bring out. Second Edges is a mighty book. Salaki for the delay. All right, start back at verse 12. I'm start at verse 17. It says, "Woe is me, woe is me! Who will deliver me in those days?" It says, "The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death." Right, and we just read to you, how I just read through those states. It says, "Beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague and tribulation and anguish. Are these all anguish are sent as scourges among men." All right, and jump down. What did I want? It says, "Behold, the plagues draweth nigh and are not slack." And we see these plagues drawing nigh, man. We see how the Lord is, touching this place with uh, wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, mudslides, flooding all throughout the world. Hey, the Lord said they're not slack, meaning He's not going to hold back, right? What the Lord said is going to happen, it's going to happen. Verse 39, it says, "Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side." It says, verse 45, "And therefore they that labor in vain." Right? So all the working that people doing, all of the, trying to save up and the days of you trying to get a white picket fence is over with. The days of you trying to get $1 million in your 401k, hey, those days are over with, man. A destruction draweth nigh. It says, "For strangers," I'll jump down to verse 49. 46, let me see, what did I want? It says, "For strangers shall reap their fruits and spoil their goods, overthrow their houses and take their children captives. For in captivity and famine shall they get children, and they that occupy their merchandise with robbery, the more they deck their cities, their houses, their possessions, and the slacket of their own purses." All right, so these are the things that's coming, man. Right, these are the things that's draweth nigh. And we can see again with the times that's going on right now, we can link them up with scripture, right? Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Chapter 12, verse number 3. It says, "In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble." Right? Who the keepers of the house? Who rule and own America? These Edomites, the so-called white man. It says, "And the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease," meaning the workers, the people that work, the blue-collar workers, white collars. It says that the grinders, those workers, are going to cease, meaning they're going to stop working. It says, "Because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened." Read that again. And those that look out of the windows be darkened. Meaning what? When you look out your windows, hey, you're not going to see your future. Hey, it's going to be dark. It's going to be grim, right? you're not going to see. Well, actually, you're going to see it end, right? Your future is going to get dimmer and dimmer. It says, and the door shall be shut in the streets, right? All the department stores, all the banks, hey, they closing, man, right? When the sound of the grinding is low. What's that sound of the sound of the people work the CTA buses that screeching at you here, the police sirens, the honking of the horns, the people playing their music loud. Hey, all that's going to be brought low, right? It says, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and the daughters of music shall be brought low. So again, all the the everyday sounds, when you wake up in the morning till you go to bed at night, right? All these sounds, are you gonna be hearing when that day comes? There's a lot of yelling, uh, screaming, um, uh, torture. Hey, these are the sounds you're gonna hear in that day. These are not gonna be pleasant sounds, right? Right, World War III has been here, man. World War III has been here, but these things are escalating, right? These things are increasing, just like in Jeremiah 30th chapter, how it's like until a woman in travail giving birth, right? We already seen in the White House, um, how um, how the eagle, normally the eagle on the seal is turned, I want to say, to the right, which is the west, and it's having the olive branch. The eagle feet is holding the olive branch, but on the left hand side, it's holding the arrows, and the arrows symbolize war. So let's see if I can get that real quick. Let's see if I can get that. It's a video. Uh, there's a video that they had where the seal was facing the arrows, meaning the symbol of war. See that? It says that the eagle of the United States presidential seal traditionally faces the olive branch, which symbolizes peace, with arrows and the other talon representing war. See that? Now I gotta see if I can bring this video up. Let's see. No, I'm not gonna worry about it. That's okay. Nonetheless, we have pop-ups. It says, what to know in the final days of store closures for Party City, Joanne, Fabrics, and more. All right, these are the times we're living in, man. And more are coming. It says, Coresight Research predicts as many as 15,000 U.S. stores will close in 2025. There's a video.
Imagine being on a vacation for a very long time. Now imagine saving money nightly while you do it. Sounds pretty great, right?
Slocky. So, Big Lots filed for bankruptcy. See who else they got. Macy's It says the company's plan to focus on its 350 go forward locations. Right? Macy's was Party City, Joanne Fabrics. Hey, and guess what? Hey, there's many more to come, man. Right? There are many more to come. It's not gonna stop, man. It doesn't get any better from here on out, man. Right? Let's get that in the book of Nahum. Chapter 3, I think that's verse 19. Where there's no healing that bruise, man. There's no more healing the bruise of Babylon, man. She's up, she's bruised, she's not gonna be healed, man. Ain't no putting that band-aid and healing that wound, putting peroxide and alcohol on it. No, man, there's nothing, there's no cure for Babylon. It says, this is Nahum 3:19. It says, there is no healing thy bruise, thy wound is grievous. All that hear the root of thee shall clap their hands over thee. So all these nations, right, that are about to separate from the European Union, from NATO, and they're gonna clap their hands at this whole, right? Other nations that are already enemies with America, they're gonna clap their hands. They're gonna be rejoicing over the fall of Babylon. It says, "For upon whom have not thy wickedness passed continually?" Meaning what? What nation has America not treated right? Right? America has treated a lot of nations wickedly, man. Right? Everybody that's pretty much came through America, she has done wickedly towards. Read that again. It says, "For upon whom have not thy wickedness passed continually?" You know what? Again, America's wickedness has passed through almost everybody, man. America is very wicked. Right? I got this other video, man, which we're gonna show you how these Edomites are turning on each other, man. Right? These Edomites are spilling the beans. They telling America how wicked she is. Right? And these 10 toes are separating. Right? These 10 toes are separating. Right? You get the plane crashes. Man, there's been so many plane crashes. And guess what? There's more to come with that too. Daily U.S. plane crashes in 2025 timeline. This is the one in D.C. Look at that. There have been 19 daily plane crashes in the United States in 2025. Man, look at that. Hey, the Most High is showing judgment, man. It says since the beginning of 2025, at least 106 people have died in 19 U.S. aviation incidents. Look at that, man. Tell me the Lord ain't. As always, the Lord is always showing his wrath around time of Passover. See if this video will play. Damn ads. Can't play a video without a damn ad. Come on. But y'all get the gist. Y'all get the gist. And see, these are the signs and the wonders that you read about all throughout the scriptures, man. All throughout the scriptures, you know, the Lord telling, his servants, the prophets, you know, what to go out and warn the people about, what's coming. And all throughout the world, man, all throughout the world, the Lord is sending forth his servants, the prophets, to prophesy and to warn the people, just like he did before, right? Whether it's Babylon, Persia, and the Medes, Rome, Greece, right? The Lord has always sent forth his servants, the prophets, to warn the people of what's to come. And we're doing the same thing now in our last captivity. It says, start at verse 3. It says, lift up thy hands against the strange nations, and let them see thy power, as thou wast sanctified in us before them. Salakia. Right? It says, as thou wast sanctified in us before them, so be thou magnified among them before us. We'll drop down to verse 6. It says, show new signs and make other strange wonders. Glorify thy hand and thy right arm, that they may set forth thy wondrous works. And this is what the Lord is doing. These new signs, planes just coincidentally falling out of the sky. You know, blood moon after blood moon, you know, the strange wonders. You got the chariot sightings where, the government don't want to spill the beans and put it out there. They don't want to terrify the people, but, you know, they got these drones to somewhat spy on these chariots to try to keep up with them. But they can't. It says, glorify thy hand and thy right arm, that they may set forth thy wondrous works. Raise up indignation and pour out wrath. Take away the adversary. Right? It says, it's like it. It says, take away the adversary and destroy the enemy. Make the time short. And this is what we want, man. We want the Lord to make the time short. Remember the covenant and let them declare thy wonderful works. Right? Let him escape to be consumed by the rage of the fire. Right? And that's that thermonuclear fire that we want America to be burnt up by. It says to let them perish that oppress the people. And that's what we want at the end of the day. These Edomites, these other nations that oppressed us, and we want them to be burnt up because they've been oppressing us and they've oppressed us to this day. Right? And that's a just God. That's a just balance. That's what the Israelites are patiently waiting for. All right. I got this one last video that I want to bring out. Let's see. It's on YouTube. Let's see. Bear with me. So this one basically, you got a guy. I want to say his name is something Wolf, but he pretty much talks about the end of America and the collapse of America. Actually, I think this is the first guy I want to bring up. Yeah, Richard Wolf is the first guy I want to bring up.
You own a home in Illinois and need a new roof, but don't want to spend a bunch of money? You really need to check out this offer I just got from ProLiant Solar. They're including a full roof.
Took a step back, looked at Europe, looked at the BRICS, looked at the fact.
All right, let's see. You guys got some interesting stuff going on. Try not to be too long-winded.
Because he looks at America and says correctly, it's in decline. Oh, he uses blustery words. They don't respect us anymore, or they're laughing at us anymore. Yeah, he has his way of doing it, and he's
See that? They know America's in decline, but guess what? The Americans don't know that America's in decline, right?
going to fix it all by putting America first. But forget all that for a moment and just recognize with me that he understands it's in trouble. He's going to blame it all on Mr. Biden. That's cheap politics. He knows that he was as responsible in his time as Mr. Biden was in his, or if he doesn't know it, he should. And now here comes the punchline. Somewhere he understands, and the people around him do too, that the United States lost the war in Vietnam back in the 1970s. They lost the war much later in Afghanistan. Vietnam is run by the North Vietnamese Communist Party and its associates. They were the enemy in 1975. Afghanistan is ruled by the Taliban. They were the enemy when the United States invaded there. We have lost the war in Ukraine. We certainly didn't win the one in Iraq. Wow. The trajectory isn't good. For all of those wars, we dared not, as a nation, tax our people because the opposition to the war would have gone through the roof if Americans had to pay for it, not just with young men and women dying, and not just with all the wasted resources, but with a tax bill on top of it. So they were paid for by printing money, borrowing and printing money. And so now our deficit as a country has gone through the roof, in excess of $1 trillion a year. Our debts as a nation far ahead of our total output of goods and services. So they knew something had to be done.
And that's the collapse, right? Guess what you read about, and I believe it's Habakkuk, Habakkuk, is it 2:16 or 2:16, 2:16? Let's get there real quick. How's that thick clay? Let me see. Habakkuk, was it 1:6? Damn. It's got to be 1:6. Habakkuk. Because 2:16 is talking about you might. Let me see. Habakkuk 1:6. What is that precept? It talks about the thick clay. Let me see. It's in Habakkuk. I know it's in Habakkuk. Thick clay. 2:6. I was right the first time. Habakkuk 2:6. Bear with me. I'm trying to make this video not too long-winded. Pretty late. Here we go. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a tenting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. And that's what the so-called white man has done. He increased everywhere except where he lives at, except where his homeland is, which is Mount Seir. Right? It says, how long? And to laden, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. When you go into the Hebrew, like that thick clay is talking about debt. And that's what America is, man. That's just what he's talking about. This Richard Wolf guy. He's speaking a lot of truth here. But that thick clay is America's, $1 trillion deficit that they're in. And they won't get out of it. And this is why that CBDC, that central bank digital currency, has to be administered. And fast forward a little bit. You see that? He said he's dropping Canada, Mexico, and Europe. Hey, that's NATO and EU. That's Bible prophecy, right? That's Revelation. Let's get that. Revelation 17 and 16. Slacky. Revelation. Hey, that's where it says the beast gonna hate the whore. Revelation 17. Daniel, hey, that's Daniel 2 42 to 44. Daniel 7, was it 19 as well? Let's get it. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Like, so we're talking, and we're seeing, we're reading about this right now. I mean, what more do you need? What more do you need, man? America is finished. America is a Babylon. America, aka Babylon the Great, is finished, man. It's over, and it's not gonna work. You see that laying off government workers? He trying to cut Social Security, Department of Education. Hey, what is that gonna do? That's what I just read, Ecclesiastes 12 and 5. All the stores are closing. Right, it's gonna be real grim and dark in these next couple seasons, man. Speed it up, speed it up a little bit. You see that? He said they're throwing away the allies and trying to squeeze as much as they can out of them. And that's why they're going to hate the Horde. You see that? Hey, we're living in biblical times, man. He said we're living in interesting times. These economists, hey, these globalists, they know, man. Hey, so this is what we do. We go out here, we warn the people, we tell the people that the destruction is coming, and people don't give a damn, man.
Hand looks really strong against Europe, for example. What happened at Munich was an embarrassment, and I don't cry tears, of course, for the European leaders who have so saddled up to an American empire that's crashing and burning. But with isolationism comes isolation, right?
I'm gonna make sure y'all heard that again. I'm gonna play that again because I don't know if y'all heard it. Because I just want to
First, we are watching a disintegrating empire, and as a great writer once said, beware of living in interesting times because the road can get very rocky. We are on a rocky road, and no assurances of Mr. Trump about how the bricks are broken and they're gone is all hand waving. It's all fantasy, but it's part of a denial. And you know, denial has never been a really good idea as a.
Right. So that was pretty much it on that video. I got one more video with Jerry Sachs. So like I should have already had it pulled up. Bear with me. I know it's late. I know it's late for me. I gotta bring this stuff out. Here we go.
Why do so many folks over 40 with type 2 start walking like this? If you take metformin and notice.
Renowned economist Jeffrey Sachs just destroyed the European Parliament to their faces in a recent talk he gave, warning the European leadership that they need.
So Jerry Sachs is he's a very prominent guy. He makes I want to say he does deals with try to talk deals, peace deals with EU and NATO, try to create peace talks between these two with Russia, and trying basically to get EU to stop dealing with America because America is treacherous, and he's going to reveal that.
Needed to begin focusing on sovereignty and what.
Europe, repeat this in Europe, in your commission, your high representative. This is nonsense stuff. This is not even baby geopolitics.
The fact that Europe has continued, even now, as the United States says, you're done. We don't care about you. We will leave you to your own device.
See that? America saying that we're done. We're done with Ukraine. We're done with EU. We're done with NATO. We're going to leave you to your own devices.
But pay us more for military armaments and weapons, of course, up that to 5%. And you do it on your own because we don't want anything to do with Europe right now. From Annalena Baerbock, the so-called foreign minister of Germany, to Ursula von der Leyen, the so-called EU Commission president. All of these leaders are saying exactly what Jeffrey Sachs is warning against, that this mythical idea of Russian expansionism is somehow justifying the total involvement of NATO along Russia's border, when if the United States had Mexico and Canada occupied by Chinese and Russian military bases, you better believe there would be war in a second.
Putin's intention in the war, I can tell you what his intention was. It was to force Zelensky to negotiate neutrality. And that happened within 7 days of the start of the invasion. You should understand this, not the propaganda that's written about this. Oh, that they failed and he was going to take over Ukraine. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, understand something basic. The idea was to keep NATO. And what is NATO? It's the United States off of Russia's border. No more, no less. I should add.
There's a lot on here, man. I'm just trying to trim the fat and get to the meat. Let's see.
Neutral. Don't listen to the Americans.
You see that? Hey, everybody knows, hey, America is bad, but America is that whore, man. Don't listen to them, man. And all of these nations have traded with her, the made America rich, right? That's what, Revelation 18, right? Hold on, let's get there real quick. Revelation. Yeah, all these nations made America rich, man. And look how America is doing them. America then gave them STDs, herpes, HIV, AIDS, syphilis, gonorrhea. Now she's making all of these nations. These other nations done had babies by her, through fornication, and now she's making them paying what you call it, child support, right? Child support in the form of tariffs, right? 20% tariff tax on Canada. I believe it's a 20% tariff tax on Mexico. They want to put a 10% tax on China. Hey, America, hey man, America's nasty, man. America's filthy. Like, let's start at verse 9. Let me see. Yeah, start at verse 9. It says, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. And we're going to see, hey, Lord willing, we in these chairs, we're going to see the smoke of America burning as well. It says, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come, and America will be destroyed in 1 hour. It says, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn. Who are the merchants? Right, that's EU and NATO that traded with her. Right, you're gonna see that. It said, for no man buyeth her merchandise anymore. That's what you see in the 10 toes separate. They're not gonna buy no merchandise from her no more because, for one, the tariffs, and for two, she's gonna be burnt up by nuclear fire. It says the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stone and of pearls and of fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble. I mean, all these different types of goods that America and China once traded with each other, all these different nations, EU, NATO, Mexico with the fruit, and Canada with its electricity. Hey, these things are about to come to Nigh. It says, and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves. Hey, where are those slaves, man? Hey, where are the souls of men? It says, and the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her, you see that? It says the merchants of these things which were made rich by her, right? Because America made these other nations rich, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to Nigh, and every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors and as many as trade by sea stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? Right? It says, and they cast dung on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea, by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour is she made desolate. Right? And we can't wait till America is made desolate, man. Right.
I repeated to them the famous adage of Henry Kissinger that to be an enemy of the United States is dangerous, but to be a friend is fatal.
Damn, you see
To
that?
be a
Hey, he said to be a friend of the United States is dangerous. All right, let's hear that again.
This is so familiar to me.
He said to be a friend of the United States is dangerous. No, it's like I think he said to be an enemy of the United States is dangerous, but to be her friend is fatal. That's wicked. I mean, a friend is more closer than your enemy, and even though America are your allies, he's pretty much saying that America is more wicked as your friend than as your enemy.
Me. Completely familiar. I begged the Ukrainians, and I had a track record with the Ukrainians. I advised the Ukrainians. I'm not anti-Ukrainian, I'm pro-Ukrainian completely. I said, save your lives, save your sovereignty, save your territory, be neutral. Don't listen to the Americans. I repeated to them the famous adage of Henry Kissinger that to be an enemy of the United States is dangerous, but to be a friend is fatal.
To be a friend of the United States is fatal. Europe is experiencing this right now. The United States is moving to withdraw from Europe militarily. The Trump administration is full of bluster, and it's quite clear that any kind of withdrawal, any kind of pullback is actually going to sow more dependency for Europe onto the United States. Europe will not only have to create its own military apparatus, but it doesn't have the industrial capacity, nor does even the United States, to keep up with the requirements of modern military warfare. We've seen that in Ukraine, as Jeffrey Sachs just said. HIMARS, all of these weapons, they were supposed to be the wonders for the conflict that would defeat Russia. None of it came to pass, and now Europe wants to escalate. It wants to demand of Donald Trump that this partnership, so-called, that it has with the United States continue, even though Europe is experiencing this exact Kissinger effect. Europe is being decimated, destroyed by the United States, and the leadership is just bowing to it. They're just saying, yes, please give me more. That's an abusive relationship. There isn't even any honeymoon period in this.
Independent lab tests have proven that half ski liners with our ProGuard formula are over 70% more durable than the leading brand.
Cycle.
Okay, so let me repeat that for Europe. To be an enemy of the United States is dangerous, but to be a friend is fatal. Trump does not want the losing hand. This is why it is more likely than not this war will end. Because
and see what's going to happen is, he knows that he can't win that war with Ukraine. That's why he stopped the war, right? He knows that, Russia is, the big dog. So now what he's going to do is, because he knows that, Israel has the United States by the neck. United States moves to Israel's beck and call. And so he's going to fulfill scripture again, where, the least of the flock is going to draw them out, pursuant to Jeremiah 15:45. So what's going to happen is, they're going to get in that war and this already happened, where the United States are dropping bombs on Hezbollah and Hamas, and so is Israel. They're dropping bombs on Yemen, and the Houthis are dropping bombs in return on U.S. ships. And in return, in addition, the United States, Israel is going to try to take that land, Syria, and try to move towards Iran and take Iran, because it was prophesied that the true Jews, the true Israelites, are supposed to inherit that land, and Iran in return is going to fight. They're not going to let them take that land, or even let them come near them. And this is where you're going to have Russia get involved, because Russia is back in Iran. And that's what's going to set it off.
Trump and President Putin will agree to end the war. If Europe does all its great warmongering, it doesn't matter. The war is ending. So get it out of your system. Please tell your colleagues. It's over. And it's over because Trump doesn't want to carry a loser.
Right, and he knows that. Right, I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. There's a lot of good stuff on here, man. But for the sake of time, try to speed this thing up.
Who is anti-war, who has a long resume of working with the establishments of many different governments. They won't even listen to him. Even Jake Sullivan would pick up the phone before this conflict started, when the United States was about to plunge itself into this proxy war in Ukraine. But European leaders won't. This is the mindset of decline. This is the mindset of total destruction. This is the mindset of political and economic suicide. This is the mindset of Europe right now.
The Trump administration is imperialist at heart. Great powers dominate the world. We will do what we want when we can. We will be better than a senescent Biden, and we'll cut our losses where we have to. There are several war zones in the world, the Middle East being another. We don't know what will happen with that. Again, if Europe had a proper policy, you could stop that war. I'll explain how. But war with China is also a possibility. So I'm not saying that we're at the new age of peace, but we are in a very different kind of politics right now. And Europe should have a foreign policy. And not just a foreign policy of Russophobia, a foreign policy that is a realistic foreign policy that understands Russia's situation, that understands Europe's situation, that understands what America is and what it stands for, that tries to avoid Europe being invaded by the United States, because it's not impossible that America will just land troops in Danish territory. Yes, we'll bargain with Mr. Trump and meet him halfway. You know what that will be like? Give me a call afterwards. Please don't have American officials as head of Europe. Have European officials. Please. Have a European foreign policy. You're going to be living with Russia for a long time. So please.
Hey, speaking facts, right? Why are you joining with these Americans? They filthy, they nasty. He said, hey, you're in Europe, stay with Europe. Hey, deal with Russia. Deal with Vladimir Putin, right?
Please negotiate with Russia. There are real security issues on the table. But the bombast and the Russophobia is not serving your security at all. It's not serving Ukraine's security at all. It contributed to 1 million casualties in Ukraine from this idiotic American adventure that you signed on to and then became the lead cheerleaders of. Solves nothing. On the Middle East, by the way, the U.S. completely handed over foreign policy to Netanyahu 30 years ago.
See that? He said the U.S. has handed over foreign policy over to Netanyahu, not a Jew. That's right, Netanyahu, not a Jew.
The Israel lobby dominates American politics. Just have no doubt of it.
He said they dominate. I don't know if he played it over. Listen to this.
Dominates American politics. Just have no doubt about it. I could explain for hours how it works. It's very dangerous. I'm hoping that Trump will not destroy his administration and worse, the Palestinian people, because of Netanyahu, who I regard as a war criminal, properly indicted by the ICC, and that needs to be told no more, that there will be a state of Palestine on the borders of the 4th of June, 1967, according to international law, as the only way for peace. It's the only way for Europe to have peace on your borders with the Middle East, is the two-state solution. There is only one obstacle to it, by the way, and that is the veto of the United States in the UN Security Council. So if you want to have some influence, tell the United States, drop the veto. You are together with 180 countries in the world. The only ones that oppose a Palestinian state are the United States, Israel, Micronesia, Nauru, Palau, Papua New Guinea, Mr. Malay,
and these are all small countries.
And Paraguay.
Don't have nothing, no armies, no militaries. No.
So this is a place where Europe could have a big influence. Europe has gone silent about the JCPOA and Iran. Netanyahu's greatest dream in life is a war between the United States and Iran. He's not given up, and it's not impossible that that would come.
See that? He's speaking prophecy, man. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Look at this. This book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 45. It says, "There hear ye the counsel of the Lord that he has taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he hath proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock." Who's the least of the flock? Israel, right? Because they're the newly, they're kind of new to it in the scene. They pretty much came in 1948, established themselves, right? So they're the least of the flock amongst, all these other nations, right? United States, Russia, China, right? These are all major countries before Israel. So I'm going to read that again. It says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. And how are they going to draw them out? By pulling them into World War III, right? To fight with Iran. It says, surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. And that's what's going to happen. America and Israel's, both of their lands are going to be desolate. It says, at the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations. See that?
Also. And that's because the U.S. in this regard does not have an independent foreign policy. It is run by Israel. It's
See that?
Tragic.
You said it's run by Israel, and it's tragic.
It's amazing, by the way. And it could end. Trump may say that he wants foreign policy back. Maybe. I'm hoping that it's the case. Finally, let me just say with respect to China, China is not an enemy.
See that? And so those, these are pretty much, these are receipts, man. This is, proof, to let y'all know that, hey, man, we're not that far away, man. So the times that you, picking your toenails and scratching your butt, you're sniffing up after every Charlene, Mary, and Jane trying to get with hey man, leave Eve alone, man. Let her be, man. Right? Pursuant to Isaiah 4:1, she's gonna be coming after you, man. Right? Stay away from wickedness. Stay away from folly, man. America is on its last leg, man. So Lord willing, the video was edifying. Shalom.